Hi there, this is your back in the groove again, Coach Linda, with a very quick, and I promise it's going to be quick this time, with a quick video. I want to talk about visualization. It came up today during our meditation and journaling 21-day challenge to happiness and well-being, and I want to talk a little bit about it to explain what it is and how it's used. So visualization has been around for many years, 30, 40, many years. And essentially, it is visualizing images in our mind. Visualizing images in our mind. So when we close our mind, it's like dreaming, okay? But when we dream, we're usually sleeping. And usually when we want to go to sleep, sometimes we'll dream of something to allow us to go to sleep. So it's like that. It's like that. So visualization is seeing images in our mind. And it's used for many different reasons. Many different reasons. For example, athletes will use visualization to prepare themselves for challenges, to prepare themselves for races, to prepare themselves to climb the highest mountain. They will close their eyes and see themselves go through every possible thing they can go through. And of course, when their eyes are closed, the brain doesn't know whether it's real or not, but when their eyes are closed and they're visualizing, they're also visualizing all the challenges that they can go through and how they can overcome these challenges. So you don't want to visualize anything negative. If you are, then you want to also visualize how you get around that and how you found some solutions. I've often recommended to my clients to visualize themselves during an interview, a job interview. So for example, I will suggest to my clients to close their eyes and see themselves going into the building where the interview is being held, to see themselves greeting the interviewer and the other interviewers, and to see themselves answering the interview questions. So you can see how going through that process will be helpful. Now, it's not just a one time. Athletes don't just use this one time, they do it maybe several times during the day and every day. Another way that it's used to help people that have illnesses as well. So they're visualizing themselves being healthy, but they're also visualizing different parts of their bodies. So maybe they're visualizing their heart, or maybe they're visualizing their brain. And of course, it helps to know what a brain looks like if you're going to visualize a brain. It helps to know what a heart looks like if you're going to visualize a heart. That's helpful because then you could put your attention when you're doing your visualization on the different parts of that brain or the different parts of your heart, for example. Right, so the more detailed you can get in your visualization, the more the brain, again, it doesn't know whether it's a real experience or not. It doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not. But the brain will do its magic, and I don't know how the brain works, but it does its magic. We'll call it that. It'll start creating those neurons and different lines that will connect to those neurons. And if anybody's a brain expert, help me out with this. But how I'm trying to understand it is, if you do it the one time, the brain is going to form some type of a small little line. But the more you do it, the more it's going to connect with other lines in your brain, other pathways in your brain. The more you do it, it's going to create more grooves so that it becomes easier in time. So the first time you do it, it might not be comfortable, right? The first time you try a visualization or the first time you speak a language, it might not be comfortable, but the more you do it, the more your brain is creating those pathways, those neural pathways, so that over time, it's starting to recognize that as being true and being real. So when you're using visualization, and again, we can use it for different reasons. I've been helping my clients recently on visualizing for their wealth or for their health and well-being. But you can use it for any possible thing. I've also used it with some of my clients to help them relax. And so you could find a guided visualization on YouTube. There are many of them. Or you could simply recreate something that happened that was pleasant, of course, but something that happened that was pleasant. You can recreate this in your mind to help you feel like how you felt at the time. So there are different types of visualizations. There are guided visualizations, guided imagery, and there's also the non-guided where you might just hear sounds, and those sounds will bring images in your mind naturally. I always suggest that if you have a difficult time doing a visualization, that you start with something concrete. So for example, if I'm going to look at this glass of water that's in front of me, and I will stare at it for, a minute or two, and I bet you when I close my eyes, I'll be able to see that glass of water. It's related to how the brain works with the eyes and all that stuff. But if you've experienced something wonderful, like I mentioned, being on the beach in Cuba, for example, you might want to, when you're in Cuba, on the beach, you might want to pay attention to the sounds that you hear, to the sights that you see, to the warmth on your face, so that the more senses you're using in your visualization, the more real it's going to feel. And the more your brain, again, because it doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not, the more your brain is going to say, yes, and it's going to form those connections in your brain. So I encourage you to try that. Now, of course, because I specialize in stress management and I specialize in wellness and self-care, I usually talk about visualizing when it comes to helping with stress and helping with self-care. I usually talk about it at that time. So if you're ever in one of my courses, you'll hear me talking about visualizing. You'll hear me and participate in meditations that also use some visualizings as well. All right, so for more information on my services, go to my website at backinthegrooveagain.com. I've got some exciting programs coming up around the bend. Talk to you soon. Bye.